The disciples gathered beneath the shade of a giant Bodhi tree, their faces reflecting curiosity and reverence. Buddha stood silently, observing the serene faces of his students. The warm light of the sun filtered through the dense branches above them. The soft rustling of leaves offered a comforting rhythm to the gathering. In this tranquil moment, Buddha began to speak. Once, a young woman named Kisa Gotami approached me in great distress, Buddha said, his voice calm and steady. She held her lifeless child in her arms, tears streaming down her face. The disciples shifted slightly, sensing the weight of the story. Kisa Gotami was consumed by sorrow. Unable to accept the impermanence of life, he continued. She wandered from house to house, desperately seeking a cure to bring her son back to life. Buddha paused, letting the gravity of the situation resonate in the minds of his disciples. People pitied her but could not provide what she sought, he resumed. Eventually, she came to me, her eyes filled with hope and anguish. The disciples listened intently as Buddha's words painted the vivid image of a grieving mother. He believed that somewhere, a perfect land existed, free from toil and disappointment. Buddha paused, letting his words linger like ripples over still water. On his journey, Anand encountered harsh conditions. His provisions dwindled, and hunger gnawed at his body and spirit. One evening, as he wandered aimlessly, Anand came across a wise hermit meditating under a lone tree. Curious, he approached and shared his plight. "Have you experienced loss in this household?" she asked. The disciples leaned forward, captivated by the unfolding tale. The family responded, "We lost our father last year. Our hearts still ache from the absence of his presence." Buddha's voice softened, his words carrying the collective pain of humanity. Kisa Gotami moved to the next house, her determination undeterred. Buddha said, but again, she heard stories of mourning. A sister lost, a friend departed, a child gone too soon. The disciples felt the weight of the shared experiences, their minds reflecting on their own encounters with loss. Each household recounted its grief, shattering her belief that she alone bore the burden of suffering. Buddha continued. Finally, Kisa Gotami returned to me, her spirit transformed by the wisdom she had gained, he said. One day, his strength failed him, and he collapsed at the edge of an unfamiliar village. The villagers tended to him with kindness, offering food and shelter. Anand spoke of his endless journey, his search for an elusive ideal. A kind elder among them spoke to Anand. "Your journey reminds me of a proverb. Happiness is not found afar, but within. It is a teacher, guiding us toward wisdom and inner peace." The disciples nodded, their hearts resonating with the timeless lesson. Just as the lotus blooms from the murky waters, wisdom arises from the depths of suffering, Buddha concluded. The sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the gathering. The disciples meditated on the teachings, their minds weaving the tale of Kisa Gotami into the fabric of their own understanding. The gentle rustle of the leaves and the rhythmic chirping of crickets formed a harmonious backdrop. Buddha's eyes met those of his disciples, each one hanging on his every word. He began to work on his fields anew, with gratitude for the opportunity to restore them. "Each of you carries the seed of suffering within," he said. "But within that seed lies the potential for awakening." The disciples listened, their breaths synchronized with the steady cadence of his words. "Let go of attachments, and the grip of suffering will loosen," Buddha said. "Embrace the truth of impermanence, and liberation will unfold." The disciples closed their eyes, their minds alighting on the profound simplicity of Buddha's teachings. The gathering dispersed slowly, each disciple carrying the light of wisdom back to their lives. The night sky embraced the earth, a tapestry of stars reflecting the infinite possibilities of enlightenment. Another day, another gathering under the ever-sheltering shade of the great Bodhi tree. The disciples sat in silent anticipation, their minds attuned to the wisdom of their teacher. The gentle hum of nature seemed to harmonize with their focused breaths, creating an atmosphere of profound serenity. Buddha began to speak, his voice a steady stream of calm. Today, we explore the art of transforming our suffering into the strength of wisdom, he said. Consider the mighty Ganges River, flowing endlessly, its waters unceasing, he continued. Much like the river, suffering is ever present, an inseparable part of existence. The disciples listened intently, their eyes fixed on the Buddha's serene expression. Another day, another dawn stretched across the hills, gilding the valleys with gentle light as the disciples gathered beside Buddha. His presence radiated tranquility, as though rooted in the earth itself, yet boundless, unconfined by the limitations of time. He then spoke of Angulimala, the infamous brigand whose life was once a tale of suffering and harm. Angulimala was a man lost to his desires, harming others to fulfill his misguided goals. Buddha began. He sought 1,000 human fingers to create a necklace, a symbol of his delusion. The disciples exchanged concerned glances, their minds trying to fathom such a path of darkness. One day, our paths crossed as I journeyed through the forest where he dwelled, Buddha recounted. He emerged from the trees, his presence intimidating, his actions shaped by ignorance, he said. The banyan tree stood witness to a moment of transformation, its ancient roots mirroring the depth of Buddha's timeless teachings. Another day dawned, the golden sun illuminating the monastery where Buddha rested beneath the sheltering arms of a mighty tree. A disciple, his face lined with inner struggle, spoke hesitantly, "Master, I feel consumed by ill will. The path to inner balance lies within the choices we make each day," he began, his voice steady and calm. "Let me tell you the story of a musician named Saran, whose search for harmony became a lesson for all," Buddha said. Saran was a talented lute player who longed for mastery, practicing tirelessly yet finding discord in his performances. He would tune his lute strings tight, hoping for a clear sound, only to hear them snap under the strain. Disappointed, Saran loosened his strings to avoid breakage, but his lute produced nothing but faint whispers of sound. Frustrated, he sought out Buddha, hoping to learn the secret to harmony from his wisdom. He abandoned his path of harm and sought refuge in the Dharma, transforming his suffering into wisdom. The disciples sat in silence, their minds digesting the profound transformation of Angulimala's life. Even the most misguided can find their way to wisdom and peace, Buddha said. The path begins with recognition, seeing suffering and its roots within ourselves, he continued. Angulimala faced scorn and violence from those he once harmed, yet he endured with patience and compassion, Buddha said. He bore the fruits of his past actions, accepting them without anger, transforming his suffering into his teacher, he explained. Buddha paused, allowing the weight of the story to settle in the hearts of his disciples. The river of suffering is navigated by the boat of mindfulness, steered by the oar of compassion, he said. Buddha placed his hand gently on the lute and spoke. The path to harmony lies not in extremes, Saran, but in balance. Life itself resembles the strings of your lute, Buddha continued. Too tight, and it snaps. Too loose, and it falters. To find balance is to find harmony. Another day, another circle of disciples sat beneath the twilight sky, the scent of blooming jasmine mingling with the cool breeze. The luminous moonlight shone softly over their serene faces, casting long shadows on the earth. Buddha began his teaching, his voice carrying the stillness of the evening. Tonight, we explore the path to liberation through wisdom, Buddha said, his tone calm yet profound. True wisdom dissolves the ignorance that binds us to suffering, he continued. Let me share the story of Jivaka, a royal physician, and his counsel to a restless king. I thank you. Buddha smiled, his gaze warm. Despite his luxury, he lived in constant fear of loss and impermanence, he added. One day, the king confided his turmoil to Jivaka. Seeking solace for his restless mind, Buddha said. He turned to the gathered disciples and spoke. The middle way avoids the trap of excess and deficiency, leading to equanimity. Buddha continued. Those who cling to material wealth suffer from overindulgence. Those who deny all pleasures may suffer from deprivation. Balance is essential. A disciple asked softly, Master, how do we know when we have found balance? Is it always clear? Buddha replied, balance manifests as inner peace. When neither attachment nor aversion dominates, the mind becomes like still water reflecting the moon. He observed the rising and falling of thoughts, the transient flow of emotions, he said. Over time, the king released his grasp on power, wealth, and even his own identity. Buddha continued. Observe each moment with awareness and adjust your actions to align with the middle way. He pointed to a nearby river flowing gently through the valley. The disciples reflected in silence, their minds weaving the story into their own experiences of impermanence. Wisdom transforms the mind, dissolving the suffering caused by ignorance and attachment, Buddha said. It flows steadily, finding its path to the ocean. Buddha explained, our lives must resemble this river. When we realize the impermanence of life, our suffering loses its grip, he said. Buddha paused, his eyes meeting each disciple with a glance of compassion and understanding. Wisdom is not merely knowledge. It is the light that illuminates the dark corners of our minds, Buddha said. Let the story of the king and Jivaka inspire you to reflect on your own attachments and fears, Buddha urged. Through mindfulness and insight, we cultivate the wisdom that liberates us from suffering, he continued. The disciples closed their eyes, their breaths carrying the lessons of the evening into the depths of their awareness. Buddha gazed at the starry sky, his heart radiant with compassion for all beings. The gentle rustling of leaves and the soft chirping of crickets created a harmonious backdrop. Buddha spoke again, his words resonating with the stillness of the night. The wisdom of impermanence reveals the interconnectedness of all existence, Buddha said. It frees us from the illusions that bind us to suffering, he continued. The gathering dispersed. Slowly, the disciples carrying the teachings of liberation into their hearts and lives. The night embraced the earth, its vastness reflecting the infinite possibilities of wisdom and compassion. The moon shone brightly, a symbol of enlightenment guiding their path. Another day emerged, with the sun casting golden beams across the verdant forest where Buddha and his disciples resided. Another day unfolded, and the disciples assembled, eager for Buddha's guidance, their spirits thirsting for deeper wisdom and clarity. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.